All right, people, gentlemen, tis time. Tis time for another episode of the Wisemen Say podcast. Ty Fisher alongside Jerald and Lucas, Derik, Abbott. Fellas, how are we doing this wonderful Wednesday?
Well, I gave up drinking soda. Gave up
After
drinking my Starbucks cans. After having talks with the doctors today.
oh,
Now, next time I see you with one, I'm gonna snatch it out of your hand.
Be my guest.
and just chug it and then smash it on the ground. The can.
But I do got some cinnamon donut apple cider that I'm drinking out of this lovely Wiseman Say wine glass. Smells just like
Ooh.
cinnamon donuts.
That sounds good. I didn't know they made something like that. I got my hat, my Wiseman Say podcast hat that Ty so graciously gave me at halftime of the game 2 weeks ago. It was the only
bullshit
bright
New
spot.
England game.
It was the only bright spot of the entire game, but now I got it. I've been repping it all over the place. Just at Greek Fest last Sunday, I had it on, letting the people know. And you too can rep your merch and let them know by clicking on our merch link.
I was trying to get to it, but I didn't have the right window open. No.
But yes, doing great actually because those last two games are behind us. It was the New England one was so bad we just decided to take a moratorium on the podcast for a week because we had nothing good to say, honestly. And sometimes it's better to say nothing at all than to air out your grievances.
Which is why we're doing it
tonight.
So who's playing the Dr. Phil role?
I mean,
not it.
Nah, not me. Jerald looks like you're Dr. Phil there.
Yeah.
Well, fuck my life.
But I mean, honestly, it's just the woes continue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Woes continue. I mean, what was the last? Our last one was what, DC United, and that was the introduction of the archive kit, right?
Yeah.
3-1 loss to Orlando, 2-1 loss to New England, 0-0 draw to Red Bull. Who else did we play? Was that it so far?
That was it.
Now the Red Bull game, I will say that there, from going back and watching that, there was some flashes, right? There was some flashes, and credit Red Bull because Red Bull always plays a tricky style. Either you're going to score a shit ton of goals or you're going to get bored out the damn arena, right?
That's what I was thinking back on the game, is how you were almost guaranteed every year one of the games that we play versus the Red Bull is just going to be one that you could just take a nap during because, like, there's no scoring. Everyone's just going back and forth. Like, it's just one of those. And good point. What were the flashes you saw?
So there was Ali making some plays.
Mm-hmm.
Just his toughness, keeping the ball. Gazdog, had a couple, crosses there that, could have potentially, if they would have connected. Taha still, showing improvement and being, the star that when he came into the academy, as a minor, and now he's an adult, with the first team.
There's a lot of Taha.
I mean, Taha has proven, that he is what he was advertised. And I said that, I forget which game it was. Me and Derik were, texting back and forth, and I was like, Taha, Taha can do this. And he's like, well, I don't know. And then even you last year, Ty, was like, well, I haven't seen too much of Taha. And I'm like, I had.
Yeah, you definitely
and I'm
have,
like,
especially, yeah.
Me?
like this kid. Yeah. Because I was talking about how talented Taha is.
Well, yeah,
And it was
because
like,
look at where he was playing in MLS next, right?
Mhm.
I barely went to any Crew 2 games last year, so of course I'm going to say that. He also just wasn't getting any minutes.
Yeah,
and go ahead, Derek.
Oh, I was just saying, I'm glad that I forget what the game was. He came in and made an impact, obviously, and I think he got man of the match that game.
Cincinnati.
KFC.
Yeah, and he's been getting more playing time since then, which is great to see. And I think he got called up to the U22 team. Am I right? Did he
The
just get called up
U20.
there? Or 23, whichever one it is. But obviously, they see the flashes there too. So I hope that continues to help him build up those minutes. Because I think, to your point, once he's out there playing meaningful minutes, we do get to see those flashes. So it's now just more of getting him those consistent minutes, especially towards the end of the season. If he's playing well, I want to see him out there. Like, I don't care who he has to replace at this point, based upon the last 2 games, especially. I want the people who are playing the best out there trying to make an impact so that we can win some games that we need to win.
I mean, he's definitely, taken what Darlington is taught him, and helped coach him, his buddy just got loaned right back to the Colorado Switchbacks. Switchbacks. I forget what their name is, but where he won a USL championship last year with Cole Maroka. Was out there and won. And he's actually playing with Marco Micheletto now. So, that's always fun. And playing, with former, Crew 2 players. But Cole has some upside to him, but there's just not a spot on the first team for him right now. And Taha just grinding and grinding and grinding. And I think when it's time for Darlington to hang up the boots, I think Taha is the heir apparent for that position. And that's my opinion.
Hot take: nobody on that team looked good on Saturday.
Yeah, I could understand.
Said there were flashes.
Yeah, I could understand
New
the flashes.
Definitely.
I don't even think the flashes were that good against Red Bulls. There was one opportunity, and Diego fluffed his lines.
I mean, never mind. I'm not going to start on that one.
There was one solid opportunity. Diego fluffed his lines.
Are we now at that international break again?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just looked at the schedule and then blanked at it. So during the international break, you two would know better than I would probably. Do typically our players who aren't going like to the international teams, do they just get like a break? They get their own break in terms of like some of them might go on vacation or things like that, or do they usually stay here and like get together and practice? Or usually they're all traveling, right?
Usually they're all traveling. A lot of them would go back home for a couple of days.
Okay.
Or at least a week up until like the next game. Like
a
lot of them are probably back home or doing something up until probably like Sunday. Then they'll all come back to Columbus.
Man, listen, if I'm Nazi, I'm telling them y'all ain't going nowhere.
That's what I was hoping. That's what I was kind of hoping that they didn't do that, or maybe they will stay in, but I think it would benefit them to do that. Although I can't blame them. This season's so long that like I understand taking the break, but when you're getting towards the end of it, it would be nice if they were here.
If I'm Nazi, I tell them y'all haven't earned this international break.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. They should be training. Right. Honestly, yeah. Saw one of them last night at Topgolf.
Drunk as hell, probably, huh?
Huh?
Drunk as hell, probably, huh?
He was not. He wasn't. And it was an evening. Hello there. We need to start the next game with Taha and Zawadzki as defensive mids. Derik means also how to get forward. Shambo and Taha is too static.
Well, Manuel, that we'll have to wait as Sean got called up, which deservingly, Sean needed to be called up again.
It doesn't have to wait because the game's on the 13th.
No.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Sean should have gotten called up for sure, and that will keep him in form as he's training with the team, regardless of how much he gets to play, which will be nice in general. But you know how they treat that sometimes, depending on how much they play. If he ends up getting to play a lot, he may come back and they may not start him at least. I mean, I don't know that we can really afford to not start him, but that may be the case. But yeah, I think it's a bad time, right, to have everybody kind of out of sync. And of course, we introduced a new striker, and I don't think any of us really discussed what the ramp up time would be to integrate somebody like that. Clearly, in these 2 games that we've seen so far, there are going to be some learning curves that need to be figured out in terms of how everyone's going to play together. But I think it, and I don't want to say I didn't see this in the past 2 games necessarily, but I think there is a level of also complacency where I want to see them, sometimes it's a sheer matter of you all have the talent, where's the will to get over the hump to get these goals in?
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many attempts, do whatever you have to do to get that ball in the net to score the goal and to secure the win afterwards. And so maybe this time off also give them a little more perspective, or they can really drain into them. You've got 7-ish games left, 6 now, maybe somewhere around there.
5,
Mm-hmm.
6,
5.
Is it 5? We have a game in hand though, still, right? Because we had to make up that one that's being rescheduled for NYCFC.
So 6. Yeah, so 6.
And we're in 6th place in the division, I believe.
7th.
We're in 7th now. Okay, yeah. I mean, if there was ever a time to just slap that on the whiteboard wall and say, "Do you want to actually go to the playoffs?" And if so, you can't keep performing like this. You're going to get jumped.
But see, here it also falls on Nancy's shoulder too. When you see players not performing at what they were at the beginning part of the season, you got that bench rotate.
Mm-hmm.
If you're seeing, Max not living up to, what he was doing early in the year, sit his ass down. If Diego, if Ali, even Darlington, right? If Darlington's, healthy and out there and he's not playing the game that we know that he can play, sit his ass down. If Steven, if even Schulte's not exempt for none of it either.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not playing how you were at the beginning part of the season, or, going to the halfway point, you need to sit and reevaluate, why you're on that bench. And I just think, I love Nancy to death, but he's not, to me, he's soft when it comes to realizing, some of the stars that might be starters need to take a look. You need to be sitting on the bench and, take and have that come to Jesus, well, why the fuck I just started, 9 games. Why the hell am I back on the bench? What am I doing wrong?
Mm-hmm. It reminds me
then you have 2 choices. You can either suck it up and get back to that, starter role, or you can pout like a little prima donna and then at the end of the season say, hey, I want out. It's that simple, in my opinion. So,
And we never found out. I think it's a few years ago now, but remember with that stretch where like Cucho was more or less suspended? They didn't like necessarily come out and give all the information about it. Maybe he had a bad attitude. I don't know for sure, but let's say you did something like that where somebody who, should be playing a lot better just, you're like, hey, you're not playing this game. Like, sorry, but you don't have like a good vibe about how you're playing and not playing well. And, who knows? I don't know if there is maybe some of that goes on in the locker room or is going on. We may never hear about that in the first place, but if I remember correctly, when he came out that game after that initial like run of suspension, whatever, how many ever games that was, didn't he score like a hat trick in that game? Like came out like on fire, or maybe that was the one where he got the red card and then had to sit out another game and then got. But I mean, just that type of thing. Like to your point, Jerald, like those are easy ways to really, in a perfect world, you hope motivate everybody to play better. But
it's one of those where you take the starter. It's like in football, college football, NFL, hockey, baseball. You take that hot star, and if they're not performing, you sit them on the bench and you send a message to the rest of the team that say nobody is exempt. And that's where you have your come to Jesus meeting of, well, do I pull my bootstraps up and get to work to get back here? Or I know I got all this damn money and I'm just going to pout and I'm just going to, refuse to, try. And then at the end of the season, have my agent say, well, I want, trade me or release me. And it's cut and dry. Like that's what needs to happen. There are some of the tops of the team that need to be humbled, in my opinion. They need to be humbled. They need to sit there I see you start to dance to, Kendrick Lamar's Be Humble. I saw the bounce in your head, Ty. So, but I mean, and it's just real shit. They need humbled, and if you can't be humbled after losing to New England at your home in a game that you had the everything for it going for you, and then you just underperformed. So yeah,
driving home from that game, but the club put together the best team. We have so many attackers and they can't score. I feel like yes, the club did put together a winning team. However, I think it's more so of the league knowing exactly what the crew do and counteracting it. Because as I mentioned in my latest from Master Report, the creativity and grit were non-existent in that 0-0 draw against the Red Bulls. They had so many shots on goal. As a matter of fact, let's see how many shots they had against New England. Because I feel like they had
I thought I saw somewhere that there was like the most they've had all season or something crazy like that.
24 shots on goal.
Yeah. And to score one goal. That's crazy.
They had stats. Here we go. Stats. They had 21 shots, 6 on target. Whereas New England had 10 total with 4 on target, and half of those on target were goals.
It's just like baffling.
So now the question I pose to you guys. Also, Jerald, have you noticed that we don't get told what the attendance is anymore?
Huh.
Okay. Like the last couple of games, we have not been told what the attendance was.
Yep.
And I've just seen that New England, there were 20,777 people.
How the hell you
No.
find that at?
Huh?
How you find that
know. Right.
Once we're done talking about the team's performance, I want us to like go back to. I have another topic related to this.
But on this game in particular, what went wrong?
The lineup. I told you when before the game started, when I saw the lineup, I looked at you and I said, I don't like this lineup. And the reason for it is Darlington is still out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you punishing Yevon? Yevon has shown that he can anchor that defense, as a center back. So with Darlington being out, I would have put Sean at that defensive mid with Dylan, or even Sean and Taha. And have Yevon as the center back, Amundsen as that left back, and Moreira at right back, like it normally is, right? But I would play Sean up there while Darlington is out, because Sean's been there. And I think it was, because Sean can play so many different spots, I think he's highly, relied upon to play on that back line. And you see when like Dylan or Taha comes out, and like when Yevon will come in, Sean goes up to that middle. Sean needs to be in that middle to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I agreed with having Herrera on that wing since Farsi's out. I would have liked to see what Hugo could do on a wing, but I know he's an attacking mid, so he's, Taha, right? So having Max there, that's a no-brainer, because we really don't have another winger that can play on that left side other than Aliou. And to have him up there in that starting three with Daniel and Diego, I don't like that. I would have, let Max sit for a minute. He's got, the national, we all knew he was going to be getting called up for this window.
Mm-hmm.
Let him rest. Put Aliou on that wing. Put Jason up there with Diego and Gazdog. And then at the halftime, depending on what the score would have been like, then bring in Ali. Or bring in Ali, when you did, and sub, Daniel or Jason out, or even Diego. But that's a lineup that I would have went with, because Sean has that veteran presence there in that middle in Nancy's system. Don't get me wrong, Dylan has showed that he can control the middle, but I don't think he's static. I think he's stagnant. I think he's stagnant to the point where he only is in like one like area that, the mid to low high block, the high area. And then that's like he's doing an oval, loop. To where you see like Sean or, Darlington, they're all over the damn park. So, it's, to me, I didn't like the lineup. But, I was glad when Ali came in, he brought in some energy. I would have put Sajikin on a wing. Lassie, Lassie's good to come off the bench. He's not a starter.
No, not at all.
Lassie, go home. But I mean, there's some young talent on there that needs to play. And I'm sorry if your stars are not getting it, play the young talent.
Can I just say really quick off topic? This is the longest we have gone without Derik having to fix his internet connection.
Don't jinx it. You know what happened actually?
It's that the hat.
I had yes, definitely part of it. I got my laptop out and I turned it on and it updated Windows or something unprompted. And luckily I did this a lot earlier, but thankfully I did that because otherwise I would have been late to this for sure. But also maybe that made a difference. I don't know.
It's the hat.
I was going to try to say that I was hoping the hat would bring good luck for the team, but because I got it into the since I've had the hat, we have actually not won. So I might not wear the hat during the next game, and then we'll see. Because I'm all about, I'll dive into superstition if I need to, if I feel like it's actually helping the team. I'm not above it. I'm not above it.
That part. Derik, what did you want to bring up?
Well, as we were talking about this, Jerald brought up somebody who I feel like we have not talked a lot about, and I could be slightly wrong on the timing, but probably not by much in terms of what's going on with Farsi. Because it feels like since he has not been playing and been out with injury, we have not been playing well. Like having him on the wing, and even though he's not necessarily someone that you expect is going to come in and score goals, he's getting penetration and getting the ball into the box consistently, typically. And I feel like I have no clue what his injury is and what's the status of him is he going to be back this season? What's going on?
It's a pelvic issue.
Isn't that what Camacho had? Or who had that? Somebody else had a pelvis one not long ago.
Camacho's is a thigh. I think. Okay.
I thought
Camacho's a thigh injury. Nagby's a torso.
I think Nagby has some kind of rib issue and they're just not saying it.
Well, I mean, the guy was getting absolutely obliterated against Playboy. Yeah. I think it just caught up to him.
I mean, I saw them up at halftime.
I'm glad you're seeing all these guys because I didn't see Farsi nor Nagby. The only people that I saw up in the press box was Romero and Cole before Cole left.
So Darlington was walking not really too you could tell there was a slight ginger, but he did look good. So maybe there's optimistic with this week off, they'll reevaluate him and see if he's a go for next week. I didn't see Farsi. I saw Romero and I saw Cole. But I mean, it's there is something that's off about Darlington's injury. I think it's the man is the most fouled player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where if I'm Issa, if I'm Nancy, I'm going to Garber and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because you put these rules into play about the consistent infringement, consistently fouling, one player, and it's not being followed. The refs are too, Hey, I know we complained about the scab refs and all that, and we wanted pro back. Well, we wanted pro back, but there needed to be some changes, and the changes are not coming.
No.
These refs literally hold the outcome of the game in the palm of the hand, and there's nothing that the teams can do to appeal it. Right? There's nothing that the teams can do to force the refs to be held accountable.
Look at
And
that.
I mean, it's just so crazy that the pro refs here in MLS can dictate who's going to win the game. And you could tell who they're dictating it for within the first 25 minutes of each half.
Yes, and it wasn't it just I thought I just read either today or yesterday that I think it was Orlando was like putting in some kind of complaint against the officiating crew that gave up some like phantom PK goal or phantom I forget red, yellow, whatever it was, penalty foul for Miami for the Miami to have a go ahead score to win the game in order to get to the finals of Leagues Cup. Is that accurate? Was it Orlando? Was that this? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember seeing it and everything. The replays didn't even show, like they went and looked at replay. It was clear and obvious that there was no foul, and yet they still stuck with it.
There was one Orlando player that was fouled in the box, and the ref was standing right there and just was like, "Play on." Like,
I hate to be devil's advocate, but the PK that Miami was awarded was a penalty.
What angle did you see where he hit his leg?
Wrong play. I'm talking about the one where Miami was awarded the penalty at the other end. I know what you're
about
talking
the
about.
End of the game?
The end of
that
the
was
game.
The one at the end of the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, to give Miami a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, wasn't that like that wasn't that was
the
one you
so
said?
the one you're talking about was the Orlando. That should have gotten a penalty because Busquets collided with the dude in the box and they didn't call it. That's a penalty.
Yeah.
The one that Miami
then who
got awarded.
Did this something like this happen with Vancouver then? There was another really close one that I saw that he did not touch the guy. I can't even keep it straight because it's always with Miami, and I can't keep who they're playing straight anymore with what penalties are.
So the one that I'm talking about was where Allende went up for a header late in the game and got taken down inside the box out of the air.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I do remember that one.
That's a penalty because the dude had a grab of his arm.
Okay.
The one you're talking about where I can't remember what the Orlando player was. He tries to get around Busquets, and Busquets sticks his leg out, trips him, and then like puts his hands up like, "Oh, I didn't touch him." That's also a penalty. I think if that would have gotten called, that would have changed the outcome of the rest of the game.
So I mean, 100%. Yeah. So fair, absolutely.
Yeah.
We were talking about two different ones. But Jerald's point, going back to it, is that like they're making these calls. In a lot of cases, like you have the ability to review them. You have a totally separate group of people who can review them. And then inevitably they change, even if it's not the end of a game, they can drastically change the outcome of the game and even just the general tempo of game. It'd be like in NBA. Like when they call a foul late in games or someone's on a hot run and then they go and look at it and it takes them 15 minutes to finally come back. It's like you've killed any momentum that team has had because you made the wrong call or called something that didn't need to be or whatever it may be. And I mean, especially I feel like in the game of soccer, a lot of these things, like teams will hit momentum on just one side, getting a breakaway or something, and then all of a sudden something like that happens, and now you've got everyone standing around. Some players are getting mad, so now they're all in their heads yelling at the referee. Like it just, I don't know, it's human. There's going to be human error. I think we can all agree in that. But just like the consistency of how much there is human error in this specific sport, and we're coming up on NFL. I guarantee you by Sunday, by 6 o'clock, when I'm watching my Packers play and probably getting hosed on a call or two, I'm going to be screaming at the TV saying the NFL refs are the worst. But I think realistically, consistently, MLS refs are arguably the worst. Like
Pros the worst.
So I got two things. One, I'd like to see all of pro refs DraftKings and FanDuel accounts.
Yeah, they were getting in trouble for the jerseys. Remember that? That wasn't that long ago. They were blatantly doing that until people finally started realizing it. So,
yeah, but no, I think I don't know what needs to happen. It's just, it's getting out of hand. And I think so you touched on like the NBA. Well, the NBA came out with that 2-minute report. So in the fourth quarter, they have any fouls that are committed, they have to submit a 2-minute report within, those fouls in those 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And those fouls can be appealed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think if there was something maybe like that for MLS, the last 2 minutes before stoppage time or last 5 minutes before stoppage time, if the refs were to have to write that report, right? Because I already know they have to write reports anyways after game, especially if there's yellow card, red cards. They have to write that report and turn it into the league. But with NBA, those reports are all public.
Mm-hmm.
The public can, see those reports, right? The teams can see those reports. So if pro refs were to, from the 5 minute on, if there's fouls called that result in, if there's fouls called, they have to write a report for why that was a foul, what happened, and then publish those so the teams can see. I think that's where the teams can start holding the refs accountable, because now they have that report at the 85th minute. Leo Campana, went studs up into Darlington, Nagby's leg. And, all that was awarded was a free kick. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then, Columbus could turn around and be like, hey, hold on, rules and infractions. Like, what the fuck? Since when did this only become a free kick? It should have been a yellow, or depending on the seriousness of, what happened, it could have been a red. And that they can turn around and they can overrule that foul and award, a yellow card or, a fine or something, right? But I think that's where it needs to start, to be able to hold those refs accountable.
That would be after the game?
After the game. Like they write it up and they submit it to the league, right? And then the league publishes
it. Report every time.
Yeah. So like the last the 2 minutes of NBA, they write that report up, right? And they send it off to the league. Well, the league publishes those.
I'm talking about what you're talking about for MLS. Yeah.
So if they were to do a 4-minute window, because we know how fast paced, soccer is, right? And how slow it can be too. But from this to here, this is what happened. I gave a warning for, delay a game, or I gave a warning for, this, or I gave a yellow card for this. Well, there was this foul, right? At this minute. They publish, though, they send them off to the league, and the league publishes them. So where the teams can see, well, this is why the ref called that foul, right? Or this is why he got a red card when it should have been, just a foul or even just a yellow, right? Or he got a yellow when it should be a red. That way the team could turn around and appeal those and hold their refs accountable, like, hey, look here. You guys need to stop fucking up, because we got all these teams blowing, the rules committee door wide off the hinges because y'all fuck up.
So, and then you're saying the refs are pro, if appealed successfully, can then issue a card?
Correct.
Okay. I hate being devil's advocate or being that guy. I can see two problems with this. Big problems with this. One, what does that mean for pool reporters? Do we scrap pool reports now?
No, they could still, the pool reporters could be there, right? But you don't get any clarity, right?
I mean, the one time that I did it, I got zero as to what happened with.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as you were talking about this,
getting a red card and Cujo getting a red card.
But I mean, you would still have those, right? But you're not really getting any clarity there, right? So when that ref fills out that report that he ships off, right? That's exactly, he's stating exactly why he felt, what I'm saying, why this foul deserved a red and not a yellow, or why it deserved a yellow and not a red.
Yeah.
So then that way the teams and everybody's getting clarity of why, instead of, getting the ticky-tack, pool reporter responses, because they hide behind that, right? Because you're not really face-to-face with them. You know what I'm saying? You're filling it out on a piece of, scratch paper and like, here, can you answer this question? Why was Wilfred Nancy issued a red card? How did that challenge by Cucho, why was that a yellow when he didn't make any contact with the player, right? And they're doing the runaround. To here, you're seeing it all on paper, published. What's his name? Victor Rivas states that, Wilfred Nancy was, a foot on the field of play and shouting obscenities and, being aggressive. So he got a red card.
Okay.
Cool. Right? The Boyko with Cucho's, his first yellow, though, there at the half. Like, what did he say? What did he say that warranted a yellow card as he was going into, as he was walking away from you? What was said, right? And then the ref has to put why he gave him that yellow, correct? When they fill out those reports at the end of games.
So they won't go into detail, but they will do by definition of the letter of the law, which they would say would be dissent towards a match official.
And then the team could be like, okay, what was said? On the appeal, they could turn around and be like, what was said, other than him showing his frustration because of the ticky-tack fouls or the no calls, right? What did he say that caused you to feel like he was being in dissent?
The second thing I find a big problem with this is, what month are we in right now?
We're in September.
Okay. What is starting to be?
I know the standings.
Yeah. If you're telling me, for example, if you're telling me that Matt Miazga is going to get a yellow card because of something that was an appealed situation that would now suspend him for a crucial game, that's going to cause a big uproar. It won't work out that way.
If you implement it at the beginning of next year, then there's nothing stopping you from doing it that way.
Well, to be fair, MLS has implemented the 2-minute rule from MLS Next Pro, and look how far that's gotten.
They don't do it that much.
Yeah.
My point exactly.
I think more than anything, what we're all trying to say here in various ways is we would like there to be more visual, like public accountability. Like if you have, like we all know when we hear one or two head refs names, we're like, oh, here we go. It's going to be chaos. They're going to call crazy things. Like it's going to be just ridiculous. But if you think about yeah, we could go down a list of them, past and present. But if you think about like NBA officials, I mean, football maybe to a degree. I don't think about it as much like that now, but baseball, when they're calling balls and strikes and stuff, like you have tangible evidence that anybody is a fan or a reporter or anybody on a team who's a player has all of this information to know what those tendencies are going to be so that they can at least have an idea in those games. And if you only have right now what all of our just public perception is, because there's no like real, like the pool reports, I've seen a handful of pool reports because somebody posts it online. It's not like if I have access to it, I wouldn't know where to go to get it. And I think you mentioned it earlier, both of you, like when, either of you two or anyone else asked them a question at the end of the game, the responses are just a bunch of word salad that doesn't really give any actual context to the reasoning behind what the answers to the question that you just asked. And so I think if more than anything, there needs to be like a lot more transparency and accountability. It would make, at minimum, I think it would make us more tolerable towards the bad calls if we knew that someone consistently had bad calls. Like, do we even know if there, and I know a lot of leagues people have asked about this, and I think one of the leagues maybe has started to implement it. I just don't remember which one, but like an actual grading system for those professional
NFL
referees. Like if you aren't doing a good job, like you're going to get graded on it and you will get knocked down or not get to do as many games or get to do as big of games, or you can get bigger paychecks and things like that. And bare minimum, if they're not going to try to do things like that, then there's nothing stopping them from doing the conspiracy theories in quotes, because we don't know if it's like, we could see tangibly how it could be legitimate that some of these refs are looking for a Miami to win, or they're swapping jerseys. They're getting a jersey from a really good player from another team. Like we've seen some of these things. So it's not crazy to think that like maybe there's a possibility. You want to hope that there's not, obviously. And I'm not saying that there is currently, but it's not out of the realm of possibility for anybody to assume or think that that could be the case. And that's any fan base, the ones that we're friendly with, and also ones that like we haven't had a great like track record as a fan base with Orlando's fan base. And yet when I hear them and see them griping about certain things and I see those reviews, I'm like, I totally get it. I would be mad too. I can't fault you at all for being mad about this. So like, and it's not, I'm not just pointing at the ones that we see in the Miami games. I think we just happen to see those broadcast a lot more given who's on that team and people's gripes about their officiating in those games. But I think we could pick plenty of games that the Crew or anyone else has been in versus any other teams. And at times you're like, what is happening here? Like, why is this going on? And the coaches, and I'm sure the owners and anyone else, are rendered helpless in like making a change to it overall, because the ref, the pro, he has to be willing to make a change to it, which they just got a new deal. They're probably not going to make any change. Why would their union agree to a new change like that? So I think more so we would just like that transparency in some kind of capacity. And right now they're not doing it. And I don't know that there's any mechanism that they would deem reasonable for them to do it. They don't have a reason to do it right now because they're not up against the wall to make that change.
Well, two things. The players' CBA agreement is almost up, so they're going to be looking to get that, renew that, and the players can force change.
Yeah. When is that up, by the way? I was just thinking about that the other day because they redid it. Is this the one they redid in 2020 in order to all come back to like playing?
I think so.
Okay. I couldn't remember when that one was done.
The CBA.
What about it?
When it was when the players, voted on it and accepted the new CBA. I think that was 2019, 2020.
I think it was 2020.
Yeah, because they got him to like, okay. That's a long. I'm surprised they agreed that long of a CBA. To be honest, that seems like a pretty long one.
Yeah, it's coming up in 2028. So the players could force that change, and then the league that has that grading is MLB.
Oh, okay.
MLB
I thought it might be
has
MLB, but I didn't know for sure.
They have that grading system for their umpires to where, depending on what your grade is, if you're coaching in the playoffs or a World Series.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought you said MLE. I was gonna say Major League Eating. You mean to tell me somebody's gonna hold Joey Chestnut accountable for 79 hot dogs that he can eat in 10 minutes?
I don't. The way all they're doing is flipping boards. I'm sure if someone wanted to nitpick that, it would be so easy to do, but we never do. You just see them like flipping a board from someone standing over his shoulder, watching him eat the hot dog or whatever. And I'm always like, did he really eat 70 some? Who knows? And I don't even care to question it because it's like I doubt that you could take away 20 of them so that someone else won. So at that point, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
the closest person is like 35, 40 hot dogs away from you. Like,
because they're normal. Because they're normal people.
I know his digestive system has to be fucked up. Like,
really quick, boys, to end the show, and I'm sure we all have seen it. We all have our opinions on it. Do you guys know what I'm about to bring up?
I know what the hell you bringing up. Is it the Royal Rumble that happened?
The what, Derik?
The League's Cup final?
The Royal Rumble that happened at Lumen Field?
Guys.
Right. We would be remiss if we did not bring this up. I mean, it was the hot topic.
Oh my,
if there's no other penalties that happen to those two dipshits, I mean, Busquets and Suarez.
Oh, then let's talk about Weigant holding somebody in the headlock. Let's talk about Falcone holding Obed Vargas in the headlock.
Get him all in trouble.
Just to suspend the whole team for the rest of the season.
Toto Aviles throwing a punch.
And Messi's just sitting there walking back to the locker room.
I was going to ask that too, because I saw afterwards when they were like celebrating, he was out there with like the second place medal or whatever and watching it with the team and all that. But like, he was nowhere near that. And I've seen a lot of videos where he just kind of marches right off to the locker room after games a lot of times. And
his personal security is not allowed on the field with him anymore.
God forbid.
So, the only problem with this is whatever suspensions or any sanctions that come will not affect MLS play.
It's an MLS team. They should.
It's a whole separate competition.
But there is and it says in there that MLS can for any league game or tournament that the teams participate in.
But it's a whole separate thing. And I've talked with multiple people about this. That's the only problem with this. Now, if MLS were to do the right thing, and I think they should, I think they should suspend everybody who participated for X amount of games, fine the clubs, because let's admit Seattle participated too, so they should get fined and suspended accordingly. If we're going to do it to Miami, we should do it to Seattle.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever. But if nothing more extreme gets handed down to Miami for Suarez spitting on a guy,
he's got a professional history of doing things like this too. It's not like it's an out of character thing where you can brush under the rug. It's heat of the moment.
Yeah, he does the same thing almost every time he plays somewhere.
He likes biting people.
Yeah, biting at Liverpool, the bite during the World Cup, the spit the other day, the racial remarks towards Patrice Evra when he was at Liverpool. That caused a whole stir.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, he has a track record of a list of things.
Well, like your mom said, that the staff member from Seattle need to file assault charges.
You could for something like that, 100%.
You could. Do I think he's going to do it? No. Because
if the league doesn't do anything, I would.
If the league doesn't do anything, then that just goes to show that the league is under the hands of Miami.
Yeah.
And there's the battered herons. They're in this group chat I'm in, and Danny doesn't even like Suarez. Danny would be okay if Suarez is kicked out of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And I would assume most of the reasonable fans of Miami's too would agree that punishments should go down. I don't follow a lot of they're not.
Ironically enough, yeah. A lot of Miami fans are disgusted by the behavior. I think what we see, Jerald, when you say no, I think what we see is the
media
almighty Messi fans that think he's the greatest thing that God has ever made on earth. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That he can do no wrong, and whatever team he's on can do no wrong. I think that's what a lot of us see.
Yeah.
Right? Take it, Danny and Chris, right?
Yeah, I know Danny, has been getting upset with Suarez.
Yeah.
He's he likes Busquets, but you could tell he's been getting, I haven't talked to Chris in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
what I know about him too, I figured they're pretty reasonable individuals overall. I don't, from what I know of them and when we've spoken to them, they're not the ones I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about some of them who might be defending the actions by any means. So yeah,
for sure.
Danny wanted Cucho to come down to Miami.
No, we can't have him. If he can't play for Columbus and MLS, no way.
He's not going to let me live down the fact I said Lucas Zelarayan was the better Argentine than Messi. And then it's Lucas switched over to he's Armenian now. So, fuck. But no, Danny and Chris are some good guys, but they're also logical.
Mm-hmm.
They have common sense. They're not, fly by the seat, bandwagoners or jock suckers. But I mean, I agree too. If Miami is suspended, Seattle has to be suspended as well. But here's also the thing too. If nothing happens, that coach for RSL that got suspended after Champions Cup for his actions, I think he's going to be knocking on, Garber's door. Clint Dempsey, who tore up the ref's book, and got like a 3-game suspension in MLS, after, a US Open Cup.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the more outcry, because look exactly what happened with Messi and company that didn't want to play in the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
They were set to go to Cincinnati to play against Cincinnati, but people were so much in an uproar about upholding the rules that Garber turned around and made that decision. Okay, you're going to be suspended 1 game. The rules are the rules. And in that rule though for MLS, that MLS can still suspend players and coaches, whether it's in a league game or any tournament that team is playing in. MLS can still levy suspensions or fines.
And I would say this too, just to like equate it to, I know these are athletes, and this is where like a collective bargaining agreement, with your union could certainly come into play to help you get out of it. But if any of us in any business or, an employee of anywhere that we would work, when you sign an offer letter and stuff and you have a handbook and everything, like you are held to a certain standard, even when you're not on the premise of that job, that if you do something, whether you're at your place of employment or not, you in one way or another are representing them. So if you do something outlandish or crazy or go get arrested, whatever it may be, they hold the right to hold you accountable for that, whether that means suspended with pay, suspended without pay, or even firing you. And so if I went to some kind of, event, something in my industry, but not directly for my work, and then I got into a fight or spit on somebody or something, like I would be held accountable for that because I signed paperwork and documents and everything saying that I was going to, represent the company in one way or another. And so even if it's not a tournament that MLS has control over, technically, if you've got MLS teams out here doing those things, you should have every right, whether it be the team, which questionable and whether the teams would do it, or the league, to be able to at least levy some kind of thing. Now, if they want to go, because we've seen this in other leagues, if they want to go back to their union and the collective bargaining and all of that, and they want to fight that, and it ends up getting, reduced and that type of thing, totally fine. That's then what that whole mechanism is there for. But at least for the general sense of you signing up for employment, that's, I forget what the term would be, but like conduct detrimental to your employer as an employee. And that's what all athletes are to their team.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? There are some states that are at will.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see how they would enforce those types of things in these leagues, but it's not to say that they don't have it at their disposal if they wanted to. But you have to then you either look at the league or the teams to do something. Now, Seattle's not going to do something if Miami's not going to do something with their players. So it's really down to the league to do it because, I don't have a lot of faith that Miami. We've seen Miami moves recently with their ownership and the front office. So I don't have a lot of faith that they would do a lot to begin with. But, that's up to the league at that point.
Yeah. There will be a riot if nothing happens.
I think people
because
are going to be
then because then it would be like, okay, well, if they can do it,
we can do it.
And then the league comes down hard on the the next ones. I'm like, hold on. You can't do that. If you're not going to do that to Grandpa Messi and the Ratatouille, over there in Inter Miami. Then if you're not going to do nothing to them, then don't sit there and hold everybody else to another standard.
I think what
So
MLS inevitably is going to try to do right now is they haven't said anything about it really. I think what they're hoping for is with the international break going on, it'll get swept under the rug because the next set of games aren't until like the 12th or 13th, something like that. And they're going to hope that everybody just forgets about it, is my guess.
it ain't gonna be forgotten.
No. It's going to be talked about for the rest of the.
Especially with the Eastern Conference, you know how stacked that is with Philly, Cincy, Miami, Nashville, Charlotte, Orlando. You know, they're going to be like, you know, they shouldn't even be playing, you know, the rest of the season. At least Suarez shouldn't. Busquets,
Yeah.
I could see a couple, you know, I could see a couple games.
Suarez,
You know,
and like you said,
and
like some of the Bad Inherent guys are saying, like if Suarez gets suspended the rest of the season, they may not even see that as a bad thing, and that would appease probably people as well. So I don't know, but it in general, it's ridiculous that this keeps happening with one team, and you would like to eventually see something done that goes to show them that like we're not going to let you keep doing these types of things. Not obviously not to that extent, but just in general. We would like to see a little, like, just like the referees, accountability for our actions in a way that, you know, everybody is looking for. We're not trying to unfairly punish somebody, but you did a bunch of bad things that no one else would get away with without getting some suspensions for sure, and a fine for the team probably.
Boys, any final thoughts?
We're going to be more positive next week. I got a feeling.
Yeah,
we're going to be way more positive next week. We do play in Atlanta. I saw not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. That will be tough. So the team better be ready because going to Atlanta is never an easy adventure for us.
Nope.
But by then, I'm going to have a lot more. I'm going to be positive, even though last time I did it backfired dramatically in my face. I'm going for it again.
I see a Panthers win tomorrow for the season opener.
Davenport at home, 7:30 p.m.
Nice.
I'll be at Advanced Autos, you know, tomorrow night.
What's that?
This is the home opener for
home opener, season opener. Yep.
Awesome.
First 4 games are at home.
Ooh, that's nice.
Get that equipment some work in.
We have Thursday and Saturday at home.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And then next week, Thursday, Saturday at home.
Get all that new equipment to put to use.
Love it.
I said 2-0. They're going to be 2-0 after the 2 games next week. Put it in the books.
Hey, I only said the first game.
What about the first 2?
Might be a draw.
2-0.
Depending on who you're playing.
So 2-0 this week, after this week.
Yes, that's what I meant. By the time we reconvene next week, they'll be 2-0. Top of the league.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. No. Sure. Quick episode today. Obviously, Crew are away, or not even away. Crew are on a break.
They are away.
Yeah, they're away, but not like away. So
I don't follow enough of them on Instagram anymore to like see like Cucho and them used to always be posting like up on beaches and stuff. I don't know what they're all doing these days, but
Cucho's posting pictures with Anthony eating ice cream. And he's let his hair grow out too. Like it's not the fade on the side. Yeah, he's let his hair grow to where it's bushy on the top, but it's not faded. You know, it's not buzzed, you know, on the sides like he had it here in Columbus.
I still follow him.
He doesn't have any color in there.
Huh. All right, well. New team,
Maybe
new
we'll
dude.
ask if any of us are going to the USMNT game.
Fuck no.
Nah, man, too expensive.
I didn't put my
I don't got a lot of faith in them right now.
Yeah, I didn't put my application in time. I completely forgot.
I just wasn't going to do it, but you know.
Yeah.
I like
the women's team better. I wanted I want to be more excited. Yes, if it was a women's game, I would be more inclined to go to it right now than the men's team for 100%.
Trinity Rodman.
She's awesome.
She's great. Thank y'all for tuning in. Quick episode, short episode. Nothing really much to talk about except for crew woes and whatnot.
Spirited conversation about.
Yeah,
let me say this.
Like always.
Thank you for tuning in to the Dr. Phil Show Crew Edition.
Yeah,
we had to just work through it.
As always, you guys can follow us on. Why did I close that out? You guys can follow us on social media on Twitter at Wisemen Pod, on Blue Sky at Wisemen Pod. That Blue Sky. You guys can follow us on Instagram at the Wisemen Say Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel here at the Wisemen Say Podcast and on Goals TV at the Wisemen Say Podcast. If you guys are listening all the way to the end on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, Overcast, Pocket Cast. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to us rant about the Columbus Crew. You guys can follow Derik on social media
at Funky Moses 17. I might even live tweet the USA game. We'll see. I might get into it.
There you go.
I'm thinking about
Jerald on social media.
Jerald_Lucas96.
You guys can follow me on social media at Fisher Tyler __. Thank you once again. Much love. Without the support of y'all, this podcast would not be doing well as it already is. 4 subscribers away from 100. Once we get that 100, we'll be doing a giveaway, a piece of Wisemen Say merch for a contest. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, turn on bell, post notifications for whenever we go live, post new content, etc. And Jerald, my friend, as tradition goes, Wisemen Say,
only fools rush in.
Peace out, everybody. Have a good week. Stay safe, stay hydrated, stay cool. Hug your loved ones. Go Crew.
Peace out. Love and grits.
What?
Peace out. Love and grits.
Grits?
Yep.
This guy. Peace out, everybody.
Stay wise, y'all.